What up, y'all? It's your guy Dawson from D&D TV. Thank you for rating, commenting, and subscribing. Everybody who's donated, those of you all who will, all that information is in the description box below. Everything goes back into the channel. Also, make sure you go over to my other YouTube show, Dawson Speaks TV, and subscribe over there. I appreciate it. Now let's get into this topic. Now, today is December 1st, and December 1st is World AIDS Day, which was observed in 1988. Each year, organizations and individuals across the world bring attention to the HIV epidemic, endeavor to increase HIV awareness and knowledge, speak out against HIV stigma, and call for increased response to move towards ending the HIV epidemic, a plan for America and also the world. Now, the theme for 2019 observance is ending the HIV/AIDS epidemic community by community. And that also means ending stigma and discrimination. Now, I know some of you may say, well, what is the stigma or discrimination? What's that? Well, HIV-related stigma and discrimination refers to prejudice, negative attitudes, and abuse directed towards people living with HIV and AIDS, which leads me to this story. A Florida woman, man, look here. Of course, it's got to be Florida. Ratchet Florida, like Lovely T always says, Ratchet Florida. A Florida woman is suing a popular massage parlor chain for refusing to provide her services because of her HIV positive status. Alicia Trammell was visiting Massage Envy in Aventura for her monthly massage when she was asked about her medical history. Things went left. According to Alicia, the lady asked, "Do you have any medical conditions?" Alicia said, "I'm HIV positive." The lady told her, "Get undressed to your underwear, get on the table and uncover." And then she left the room. Now, Alicia told News Channel 10 that the lady returned to the room and told her, "We will not be able to provide you services because you need a doctor's consent." Really? Now, for the first time in 19 years, Alicia said that she felt devastated, but instead of it making her want to crawl up under a rock, she said it fueled her. Now, Trammell is filing a lawsuit against the owners of the franchise. You can't discriminate in the provision of service, public accommodation, which Massage Envy is, Trammell's lawyer said. Her lawyer is Courtney Cunningham. You can't discriminate in providing services to people who are HIV positive just because they are HIV positive. Now, Alicia Trammell was diagnosed with HIV in 2000, and she said she was shocked that she was being discriminated against. According to Alicia, she said that she went into her car, she sat in her car, and she said to herself, "This is what it feels like. I think I went numb. I felt pain, isolation, and fear from a place I went to get service from." Alicia Trammell added that she is also symptom-free, so there were no grounds to be concerned about her physical health or getting a doctor's note. Now, I'm going to let you all watch this video, and I'll be back with the rest of my commentary, and you all know me, I'm Dawson, and I won't hold back.
Only on Local 10 tonight, a day of rest and relaxation has devastated a South Florida woman, bringing her to tears and led to a lawsuit.
Alicia Trammell says she is now on a mission to make sure what happened to her inside an Aventura Massage Envy never happens to anyone else again. Tonight, Local 10 investigator Jeff Weinseer is on the case.
And the feelings that I felt, as you see, are coming out.
Alicia Trammell is HIV positive, an advocate. Since she was diagnosed back in 2000, Trammell has dedicated her life to helping others get over the stigma and has never felt emotions like this, ever.
First ever in 19 years, feeling devastated.
In August, Trammell and a friend went to this Massage Envy in Aventura. They had appointments. She says she was escorted back to a room.
She asked me, "Do you have any medical conditions?" I say I'm HIV positive. She says, "Get undressed down to your underwear, get on the table and cover up." She's gone for maybe 10-15 minutes, come back in and says, "We will not be able to provide you a service because you need a doctor's consent."
Trammell has had massages before. Disclosing her medical history has never been an issue. She is symptom-free.
And in that moment, I understood, sorry, why people don't like to disclose. I know I was discriminated against. I didn't need a doctor's note for a massage.
You're telling me that they basically didn't want to touch you?
Attorney Courtney Cunningham is representing Trammell in a lawsuit filed against the owners of this franchise, J&G Holdings and Gene Sultan.
Are you serious? Today? In this day and age?
No comment from Massage Envy Corporate. We called and left messages at this Aventura location, and after 2 weeks without a response, we headed in.
Do you have a policy here? If somebody's HIV positive, they need a doctor's
I'm not familiar
note?
with that information.
You're the manager.
Well, I'm one of the managers.
The manager doesn't know if there's a policy?
If somebody comes in and they're HIV positive, do you provide service to them?
I know we have medical forms that they're expected to fill out, but regarding anything beyond that, I'm not familiar.
Do they need a doctor's note?
If there's any kind of medical concerns, sure.
Is HIV positive a medical concern?
I would feel more comfortable if the cameras were outside, though, honestly.
In 1988, the state of Florida was one of the very first states to pass protections for people with HIV. There's federal law as well. The Florida Department of Health requires massage therapists to have training on this very issue in order for them to get their license.
Should she have been turned away? No.
Iris Berman has been a massage therapist for 43 years, has had a massage school for 37 of them.
I'm not sure what the doctor's note would say other than that I'm HIV positive.
She says if Trammell had symptoms, which she doesn't.
It's called universal precautions. You wear gloves, you make sure that you're not in contact with broken skin. I just find it to be almost a non-issue at this point in our history.
HIV is not a crime.
Despite the tears, this activist remains on a mission.
And me being HIV positive doesn't make me contagious or something to run and hide from.
In Aventura, Jeff Weinseer, Local 10 News.
All right, y'all, let's go in. But first of all, I want to give a shout out to Jeff Wines here because you all know I cover a lot of stories that Jeff Wines here does because Jeff Wines here gets to the point. Jeff Wines here don't play. He covers the entire case and he makes sure it gets on television for all of us to see. So shout out to Jeff Wines here and all of the people over at Local 10 WPLG TV. Hopefully I'll be working with y'all one day soon. Now, I want to say this to Alicia Trammell, that I am sorry that you had to experience this. I know this must have been devastating, and certainly go through with your lawsuit, go all the way. Alicia Trammell also has her own organization down here in South Florida where she educates people on HIV and AIDS. So continue with that, and kudos with you for having your own program that you're helping educate people on this issue. Now, you all heard Jeff Wines here in the news clip where he said in 1988, the state of Florida was one of the first to pass protections for people with HIV/AIDS, and I looked it up and he is correct. The Florida State Statute 760.50 addresses this issue, and there is federal law as well. The Florida Department of Health's Board of Massage Therapy requires 3 hours of HIV education to be included in the curriculum of any massage training in Florida. People completing a Florida massage apprenticeship must also cover 3 hours of HIV education during their apprenticeship. However, individuals who graduate from an out-of-state massage therapy school may not have had HIV covered in their curriculum. And even if that was the case, if this particular employee at Massage Envy was somebody who graduated from an out-of-state school, Jeff Wines here also covered himself to get more information, which is why he went to Iris Berman, who has been a massage therapist for 43 years and owned a massage school for 37 of those years. And you all heard Jeff Wines here ask Iris, what do you do if a massage therapist has any concerns if they're about to give a patient massage and that patient has revealed to them that they're HIV positive? Iris stated, it's called universal precaution. You wear gloves. You wear gloves to make sure you're not in contact with broken skin, either yours or theirs. Now, when I first heard this story, I thought, well, maybe the employee was just, even though we take all of those different classes, HIV, 501, 502, and all those continuing education on certain things when you're in a particular job, you have to take those classes. But maybe when the employee, came face to face with it, she just reacted in a way like, okay, I don't feel comfortable, even though I took the classes. And I was saying, why didn't you just go, talk to the manager or ask another massage therapist to handle this particular client for you? And as we can see from the response of Massage Envy, no one in the office wanted to give Alicia Trammell services. So in that particular instant, I was like, you know what? this is discrimination, because even if you think that it's going to be a regular day at the office, your regular customers are going to come in or whatnot, you can't say that if a person is HIV positive, whether you are a massage therapist, a hairstylist, somebody who does nails, does pedicure, a barber, you're in contact with so many people, daily, and people don't reveal their status to, their barber or their hairdresser or someone like that, and they're touching you as well. And I thought about that because I get my hair cut, and I've only had 2 barbers that have actually wore gloves. And I was like, well, why are they wearing gloves? I was like, well, you know what? They're cutting people's hair, and sometimes it is true. I thought about that. But most of the time, those people who braid your hair, do your hair, and do pedicures and nails and all that stuff and cut hair, they don't wear gloves. And massage therapists usually don't wear gloves, and they have to know that there are people who have, different types of illnesses in the world. So I thought about that, and I said, it is discrimination, and she has a right to go ahead and file her lawsuit. Now, what would I do if I was the massage therapist? And I had to think about it, knowing everything I know about HIV and AIDS, being a social worker, all this kind of stuff, having family members and friends who are HIV positive, and, some who have passed away back in the day when we didn't have all the life-saving medicine that we have now. I still would have gave Miss Trammell a massage. I don't think I would have, been like, oh, I can't touch her, I can't do this, because you take these classes, and even if it's something you just skim through, if it's some of the classes online for HIV/AIDS, those continuing education classes that we have to take, you have to pay attention to this stuff, because if you are in the health field or in a field where you're coming in contact with people and you're touching them, like I said, if you are a massage therapist, if you are a dentist, a barber, anybody in the medical field, we have to take these classes, a social worker, that you're going to come in contact with people, some who are HIV positive. So it's like there's no excuse on Massage Envy's part. So if I was the massage therapist at Massage Envy, I would have no problem giving Miss Alicia Trammell a massage. Now, I want to know what you all think about this. Do you think that Massage Envy was right for not giving her a massage, even if the employee, knows better, but was scared? What do you all think about that? And how would you all react if you were a massage therapist? Would you have an issue with giving somebody a massage who revealed to you that they were HIV positive? I want to know what y'all got to say about that. Now, I also want to say this because I know some of my viewers will say, Dawson, you have said that people need to reveal their STD status to someone. And I will say, yes, if you're in a sexual situation with someone, because there have been videos that I have done where people knew they had stuff and they intentionally went out sleeping with people to give people different types of sexually transmitted diseases. So if you are in an intimate situation with someone and you know that you have something and you intentionally give it to him, or if you're in a situation where you're having a one-night stand, you need to protect yourself in that situation, you and the other person, because a lot of people are having one-night stands. So that is totally different than giving somebody a massage or cutting someone's hair or being a person who does pedicures or does nails. You're coming in contact with people every day because that is your profession. Now, let me say this. Alicia Trammell's program, her organization, is called the Positive People Network. And I just wanted to tell her, please continue on with your program and providing education down here in South Florida, especially Miami and Fort Lauderdale, West Palm, please, 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 because we need that down here more than ever, because people really don't like having a conversation about HIV and AIDS. Even in 2019, people in our community, in our educational institution, our religious institutions, oh God, let me not even get on the churches. And I know some of y'all gonna say, please, Dawson, can we have one video without you talking about the churches? No, you most certainly cannot. Let me get my testimony. Y'all gotta love me. I was a part of a church down here in Miami a couple years ago. Whoa, man, years ago. And I was a part of the young adult ministry. And I'm saying this because I know how hard it is to be an activist, for something. And, the community not rally behind you, or they come up with misinformation about how people get HIV/AIDS. And in our young adult ministry, I told our leader, I was like, it would be good if we as the young adults stand up on World AIDS Day and also, you know, have the ministry, because at that particular church, it was a mega church down here in Miami. Some of you all may know what church I'm talking about. And they have a ministry for people who are living with HIV AIDS. And I told our leader of the young adult ministry, I said, it would be good if, you know, we stand in solidarity on World AIDS Day with, you know, other churches around the United States who are doing the same thing. And they okayed it and allowed us on that Sunday on World AIDS Day to stand. And I can remember after we stood along with the HIV AIDS ministry, some people who were in that ministry, we all wore red shirts. When it was time to have prayer and the pastor would come preach after they would pray, whoever this lady was, she got up to say the prayer and she said something that kind of just killed the moment, because people clapped for us when we stood up. The lady who was over the HIV AIDS ministry, she had something on the prompter where she talked about, you know, protecting yourself against HIV, the importance of getting tested, all this different stuff she talked about, just specifically in Miami alone. And when this minister got up to do the prayer before Bishop came out to preach, she said something that kind of just like made the young adult ministry and some people in the crowd and even the people who were HIV positive in the AIDS ministry kind of like, you know, kind of looked down and kind of like wanted to make them shame. She started praying and she was like, Lord, and help the people to know to live right. And God, you don't want us with diseases. And she just went on with all this, and we need to live right and take care of our bodies. And I opened my eyes. I got up out of prayer, because y'all know if I got this mouth, I'm bold. I could walk out the church and never come back, which is what, you know, the religion stuff is that ain't my thing no more. And I'm looking at this lady while she praying. And I'm looking at the people around her on the pulpit who are kind of like looking out the side of their eyes like, where is she coming from with this? And then I talked to my young adult minister after that, the leader. And I also talked with the lady in the HIV ministry who had been in that church for years. And she said, I am really considering leaving this church because I face this every year. And she said they have no clue how many people come in this mega church down here in Miami. Boy, I want to say the name of it, who are HIV positive, who won't come into the HIV ministry because they don't want people in this mega church to know their status. And shortly after that, I got a client. You all know I work for Department of Children and Family as a social worker. I received a client, a young girl, and I went to meet her and her grandmother. And when her grandmother opened the door, she started saying, oh my God, I know you. I know you. What church do you go to? And I told her the church, because I went to a mega church, and, you know, in a mega church, you know, people may know you. They may see you, especially if you're a part of a ministry or you're up on the pulpit or you're doing certain things. But you don't know people in a mega church. And I told her, and she was like, yes, I know you. You do this in the church, and I see you all do this stuff right there. And, you know, I'm sitting there, and she told me, you know, I'm taking care of my granddaughter because her mother, my daughter, died of AIDS. And she also went on to tell me, and I knew because I read the bio and the assessment, that her granddaughter contracted HIV/AIDS from her mother as when she was born. And the grandmother went on telling me how she saw us in church, and she said, I know you all as the young adults, you all stood up for World AIDS Day. And I remembered that because the church, they don't like talking about that a lot. And when I thought about that and what that minister said that day on World AIDS Day, she didn't know that there was a little girl in that church who was HIV positive and contracted it from her mother. She didn't know that. All she said is the stuff that people say, that they have the misinformation and then they want to be so spiritual and all this kind of stuff. So that's why I give kudos to Alicia Trammell and other advocates for HIV and AIDS education and prevention, and also for standing up and being a voice for the people who are still silent in our communities, in our educational institutions, and as well our religious institutions. Now, you all go off in the comments. Let me know what you think about this. And also let me know, do you agree with Massage Envy in their stance on not giving Alicia Trammell a massage? And I also want to know, if you were a massage therapist, would you be okay with giving someone who was HIV positive a massage? Let me know what you think. It's your guy Dawson. Take care of yourself and each other. Peace.